Here's another video brought to you with lots of love by your algebra teacher. Here is Standard 7, writing equations from a table. Again, I'm hoping that you find this very easy because you had to do this a lot last year. So title your paper that, please. All right, let's look at this first table here. We've got to find the rate of change, also known as the slope, in order to come up with an equation in point-slope form and also in slope-intercept form. Okay? So hopefully you remember again, that we look at the change in the y values over the change in the x values. So 65 going to 80 would be a positive 15. And then negative 2 to negative 1 is just going up by a positive 1. So our slope is 15 over 1. And this up here is just telling us some points that we could use. You can use any one of these points. It does not matter which one you use. I'll actually go ahead and use the first one, which is negative 265. All right, so if we're going to write this in point-slope form, again, if you remember, point-slope is y minus y sub 1 equals m. And then we've got x minus x sub 1. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in what I know, y, and then we chose to use 65, so we have to make it the opposite. So it's actually subtract 65 equals the slope 15 over 1, which is just 15. And then we've got x, it was a minus 2, we have to make it the opposite, so it's plus 2. All right, so we've got that. The other thing that we can do is put it in slope-intercept form. This one is really easy because hopefully you remember that you look at when x is equal to 0, you find the y-intercept at 95. So we already know our slope is 15. So again, we're going to write y equals, let me go back here, y equals mx plus b. Hopefully that's ingrained in your head so far. Again, y equals, we're going to replace the m with the slope, which is 15. And then we're going to replace the b with the 95. Again, we find the y-intercept by looking at the table when x is equal to 0. We can take the y-intercept from that, which is 95. All right, next up, I'm going to move this over here. This is just in the way. Okay, so again, we're going to find the slope. So I always look here, and I see that I'm going up by 100. And then 4 to 6 is going up by 2. So 100 over 2, which reduces to 50. Okay, and again, I can pick any points that I want. I'm just going to pick the first one. So 4 and then 275. So point-slope form tells me y, and then I have to do the opposite. So it's minus 275 equals my slope. And then x subtract 4. Okay, so this one isn't as nice. It does not have the x equaling 0. So I could do two things. I could go backwards by filling in my table, which actually might be the easiest. What if I did that? Or I could also, like I showed you in the video from equations from graphs, I could actually go ahead and distribute in order to find the y-intercept. Or I could plug in my point and my slope. But this seems to be the easiest path. So 275 subtract 100 would give me 175. And then if I subtract another 100, I would get back to 75. So y equals the slope of 50, x, and then plus 75. All right, I think this is my last example for you. Notice, okay, so negative 5 up to negative 1 would give me a positive 4. And then over here, negative 6 and negative 6, they did not change. So we have a 0 rate of change over here. So again, we put 4 over 0. So our slope is 4 over 0. And anytime the 0 is on the bottom, it is undefined. And how I remember that is undefined. The word 0 is under the 4. So look really closely at the word undefined. Under is almost there if we had an R there. So that's how I remember this is undefined. So when this line is undefined, is it going to be a horizontal line or a vertical line? Hopefully you said vertical. And hopefully you remember from the other video I made that vertical lines always are x equals something. Well, in this case, what does x equal? Hopefully it's staring you in at the face. Or, sorry, just ignore that. X equals -6 would be your answer here, okay? Since this is a vertical line, we can't put it in the official point slope form or the slope intercept form. This is just all we've got. So this is our answer, x equals -6. So those are the easiest ones we've got so far. All right, and of course, if the y values were all one number, we would have y equals that number, okay? All right, next up we have an exit slip. So please go ahead and answer these 2 questions and come into class with any questions that you have and also these 2 answers. Thank you. Have a good night.